Now, when we went to Batu Cave, guys, the cave. Alright guys, this is part 2, and this video I'll be sharing with you my experience in Malaysia and how we got there and things that we did, some tips based on my experience as a first-time traveler. So as you know, I'm a citizen of Jamaica and I'm a resident of Japan, so I actually traveled from Japan to these two places. So we left from Singapore to Malaysia. Now, for Malaysia, you don't need any COVID tests. So I'll be looking down on my notes. So you don't need to do any COVID tests. No vaccination card is required, whether for yellow fever or malaria or any other vaccination. We weren't asked for those. As a Jamaican, we did not need any visa, but the stamp in our books was valid for 30 days, so we could only do sightseeing and such. Now, before you get to Malaysia, similar to Singapore, you have to fill in a Malaysia digital arrival card. So you can go on their website. I'll also leave the link in the description so you could see what it is like, what it looks like. So for the arrival card, you have to fill in, like, you know, where you're coming from, how long you intend to stay, where you're going to stay. And we didn't need to purchase any SIM card because when we were in Singapore, we actually got a SIM card. So this card actually worked both in Singapore and Malaysia. So you get data, minutes, roaming, everything. So got the mass rapid transport or transportation card. So for Malaysia, it's the clear card. So we got the clear travel pass, and it's for trains, the monorails, yeah. And I think we can use it on bus, but I didn't take any bus, so I'm not sure. But for the clear pass, again, it depends on your itinerary and how long you're going to stay. So the one that we got was the one that took us, we got a pass, some express pass, where we could take the train to and from the airport. So we didn't have to pay. We just took the train and it brought us back to the airport. So that's the one we took. For this, we used it for the 4 days that we were there to take the train to different places. So again, this is cost effective, and I think we paid like about 40, no, not so much, probably about 40 ringgit for it. I'll double check the cost and let you know. So yeah, you need one of these. And again, guys, I'll say to you, please to get your Wise transfer card. I'll also leave a link so you can click on the app to find out more about Wise. So you can actually open up different accounts. Now for, I don't think I mentioned this in the previous video, but for your currencies, I'd suggest that you change out a small amount. And then when you get to Malaysia, you change out the rest, because the exchange rate is a bit high it's not that good in the airport. But there are a lot of exchange shops, money shops, so you can check those out. And same for in Singapore. There are like a lot of money shops that you can actually use, and they are legit. The weather was similar in Singapore. Yeah. So in Malaysia, it didn't rain. Well, actually, it did rain a few times, but it's really hot and humid. Not as humid, it's actually more windy in Malaysia than in Singapore. So yeah, get your public transportation card to get around. And we stayed in Kuala Lumpur, so it was like everything was in walking distance, to be honest. And we stayed at Aloft Hotel. That hotel was amazing, to say the least. I'm sorry I didn't even get to do a video of the rooms because our schedule was like really tight. But yeah, you can get the card. In terms of clothing, similar clothing, wear light clothing, and depending on where you're going, especially if you're visiting like certain religious places, I'll get into that. You have to dress appropriately, be covered. And yeah, so for clothes, we wear mainly like shorts, t-shirts, with hats, sunscreen. Please wear your sunscreen because I got tan. The people were more pleasant and approachable in Malaysia than in Singapore. And I felt very safe in Malaysia as well, because I noticed that there were a lot of police, right? So we were saying, why are there so many officers? But then when I did a little check, I realized that they actually have tourist police in Malaysia. So on like each floor for the public spaces and even in the streets, you'll see them in like dark, I think it's navy blue clothing, and there's also information desk on each floor, so you can go to them and they'll direct you or answer any questions that you have. English is widely spoken in both Malaysia and Singapore, although in some places for Malaysia they don't really know English, so you can think about that. But we got by because, as I said, it was pretty easy getting around, and we felt very safe because, again, they have tourist police. They do have a hawker center as well in Malaysia, but we mainly went to restaurants that are inside the like shopping malls and such. So that wasn't bad. We actually booked a tour through Viator.
Welcome
And
to
this
Royal
tour brought us
Selangor.
to
This is
Selangor
a factory
Pewter
where
Factory.
we explored and found out how they made different items from the pewter. So here is one of the items that they actually make. And this is another one. This was an iguana, I believe. So it actually took like 20 or 30 seconds for it to become like the one to her left. And we actually witnessed the entire process, which was an interesting experience. This was an entertaining experience because this is a factory where they make traditional clothing and the designs are actually handmade. So they gave us a tutorial and then we did some designs ourselves.
So, guys, I'm going to get to Batu Cave. Before I get to that, I suggest that you take the hop on and hop off bus tour. That was very reasonable. I think it was like 60 ringgits, and we went to like 21 different places. So you can come off the bus, you can explore the area, and then you get another bus because the buses pass very frequently. The hop on and hop off tour bus, and you can actually, it's a double decker, so you can stay at the top, and the view is beautiful.
All right, guys. So at this point, we got to the location,
So,
and as you can see,
yeah.
the 250 steps that await us. Then we saw some monkeys, so I decided to do a little video, and these are some of the monkeys that are on our way up in the cave. Then after that we decided to trod, so this is us inside the cave at this point. So you notice some persons are barefooted, so depending on where you want to go in the cave, some places you can't wear shoes.
Now, when we went to Batu Cave, guys, the cave, how people post on Instagram on this platform. Listen, I felt so unclean, and for a place of worship, like it needs upkeep. Even the bathrooms that we use, they were not in good condition for a tourist area. There were a lot of monkeys, wild monkeys. So you have to be careful with your food because they'll grab your things from you. So you have to basically hide everything. Now to go in the cave, you have to dress appropriate. You have to be dressed appropriately because you can't wear like short skirts or shorts. You can't wear those things to go to the cave. There are persons actually sitting at the entrance of the cave, women, and if you're not dressed appropriately, they'll actually either offer you something to put on or they'll try to fix your clothes so you can actually go up. Now when we went into the cave, I mean it's a lime cave, and you know the water was dripping, but I felt so unclean. I guess the locals, they didn't wear any shoes in the cave, and in certain areas you have to take off your shoes. But inside the cave was very dirty, and it was very, I don't know, like mucky coming to my mind right now. But yeah, so the pictures that I saw on Instagram and videos, I was like, okay, well, this is a culture shock for me because I'm thinking if it's a place of worship, then it should be clean, holy, you know, reserved. So that's really stuck with me. That wasn't a good experience. And and there were also like dead birds inside the cave. I mean, it's a cave, but people are up there, and I'm thinking that they would actually clean the space, you know. So that was really a shocker for me. There are a lot of food to try. Like I prefer the food in Malaysia to Singapore. And what I realized with the food, I don't know, but some of the food just don't look freshly cooked. We visited this really nice place. I can't remember it. I'm going to put the link or the name. I'll try to add the name. It was really good. It was one of those Muslim place, Muslim restaurant. The food was really good there. But that's the word that gave us paper towel with our meals in Malaysia. My only concern with Malaysia though was at the airport. Like the professionalism was just through the window, and even at the public places, like everybody was just doing their own thing. I felt like I was like in some market area or something. Because even when we went to check in, first of all, our flight got delayed and we got an email. But even when we went to check in, nobody told us. We actually looked at the ticket and realized that, hey, why is the ticket saying XYZ time and we're supposed to leave at this time? And it was when we went to the information desk in the airport that they told us the flight got delayed. And even in the flight being delayed, like at the airport when we were checking in, everybody was just doing their own thing. They're dealing with us and they're talking across the counter to other people, and we're like, what are we really in an airport? Strange people are in the airport walking leisurely, and I'm like, what is happening here? So you have to be very careful. And then they kept on saying announcements, even like in the shopping center, if you see any strange person or you see anything strange, get one of the tourist police, and also watch your bags and all of that. But separate and apart from even though those announcements were going on, because I mean, even if a country is safe, you still have persons who will steal things. I guess that is not out of the norm. But the airport for me, I was disappointed with how they dealt with us. Like the customer service was zero, like really zero. And when they're asking us to, you know, show us or because we had to show them our visa, and we're telling them that we're residents, show them our residence card and our visa. And yeah, the experience at the airport wasn't very professional. It was like really frustrating, to be honest. But I would say, so my reviews of both places, I prefer the food in Malaysia. Don't I would say don't believe everything you see on Instagram. Experience or any other platform. Experience things for yourselves. Do thorough research and don't go with any expectation, or don't go with a high expectation, because I think that was our problem, or our expectation based on videos that we've seen and, you know, researches that we've done. They made out these places to be so glorious, and some of them were really not it. And the one that stood out for me most was Batu Cave, because that was one of the places that everybody posted once they went to Malaysia. But the street art, you should try the street art in Alor Street. The street art was amazing, and there are some massage seats in the centers in the airport that you should try. That was a good experience. So all in all, to be honest, like both countries, they had their pros and their cons. Mainly for me, it was the food. Like I don't really explore with food, and I tried a bit, but the food had an adverse effect on our stomachs, and we just don't know why. So I'd say be careful with the food, and we didn't try street food. Try as many fruits as you can. There's some really lovely fruits there. I tried coconut water. I tried this other fruit, dalong, I think it's called. It's similar to lychee. So you can try that. Do your research, guys, because and just go with no expectations. That's what I'd say. Plan your trip. Do up plans and backup plans for like rainy days, so you always have something to do. And I will suggest that you check out Aloft Hotel. The staff there was amazing. We got welcome drinks, although we didn't take any because we got there kind of late and we were just tired. So we got welcome drinks. They had popcorn. They have games for the children. The pool, and they have like 2 bars. Really chilled, and the staff at that hotel were more welcoming. They were friendlier, and we just felt at home. But for Singapore, we stayed at Village Katong, and the customer service wasn't really it. And as I say, I think that's just their general demeanor, but it's not welcoming at all. It's not welcoming at all. So yeah, just go and don't expect too much. Yeah, I'll stop there. If you have any other questions, let me know.